Sandman Stories presents The Prince's Fire Flash and Fire Fade by Mrs. T.H. James from the Japanese fairy tale series number 14. This is a story about two brothers who love to hunt and fish. When the younger brother loses the older brother's favorite fishing hook, he is told that no other hook will do. Adventure ensues. The music today is by Etsuko Uchida, and the name of the song is Omoegawa. Okay, let's begin. The Prince's Fire Flash and Fire Fade by Mrs. T.H. James. His Highness Fire Flash was a prince who was fond of fishing, and so great was his luck that big fishes and little fishes and all kinds of fishes came to his line. His younger brother, Prince Firefade, was fond of hunting, and all his luck was on the hills and in the woods, where he caught birds and beasts of every kind. One day Prince Firefade said to his elder brother, Prince Fireflash, "Let us change. You go and hunt instead of me, and I will try my luck at fishing, if you will lend me your line and hook." Prince Fireflash did not much care to change, and at first said no, but his brother kept on teasing him about it, until at last he said, "Very well then, let us change." Then Prince Firefade tried his luck at fishing, but not a single fish did he catch, and what's worse, he lost his brother's fishhook in the sea. Prince Fireflash asked him for the hook, saying, "Hunting is one thing and fishing is another. Let us both go back to our own ways." Then said Prince Firefade, "I did not catch a single fish with your hook, and at last I lost it in the sea." But Prince Fireflash said, "I must and shall have my fishhook." So the younger brother broke his long sword that was girded on him, and of the pieces made 500 fishhooks, and begged Prince Fireflash to take them, but he would not. Then Prince Firefade made 1,000 fishhooks and said, "Please take them instead of the one which I lost." But the elder brother said, "No, I must have my own hook, and I will not take any other." Then Prince Firefade was very sorry, and sat down by the seashore, crying bitterly. By and by the wise old man of the sea came to him and asked, "Why are you crying so bitterly, Prince Firefade?" Firefade told him all the story of the lost fishhook, and how that his brother was angry, still saying that he must have the very same hook and no other. Then the wise old man of the sea built a stout little boat, and made Prince Firefade sit in it. Having pushed it a little from the land, he said, "Now go on for some time in the boat. It will be very pleasant, for the sea is calm. Soon you will come to a palace built like fish's scales. This is the palace of the Sea King. When you reach the gate, you will see a fine acacia tree growing above the well, by the side of the gate. If you will sit on the top of that tree, the Sea King's daughter will see you and tell you what to do." So Prince Firefade did as he was told, and everything came to pass, just as the wise old man of the sea had told him. As soon as he was come to the Sea King's palace, he made haste, and climbed up the acacia tree, and sat there. Then came the maidens of the Princess Pearl, the Sea King's daughter, carrying golden water pots. They were just going to draw water when they saw a flood of light upon the well. They looked up, and there in the acacia tree was a beautiful young man. Prince Firefade saw the maidens, and asked for some water. The maidens drew some, and put it in a golden cup, and gave him to drink. Without tasting the water, the prince took the jewel that hung at his neck, put it between his lips, and let it drop into the golden cup. It stuck to the cup, so that the maidens could not take it off. So they brought the cup with the jewel on it to the Princess Pearl. When she saw the jewel, the princess asked her maidens, "Is there anyone inside the gate?" So the maidens answered, "There is someone sitting on top of the acacia tree, above our well. It is a beautiful young man, more beautiful even than our king. He asked for water, and we gave him some, but without drinking it, he dropped this jewel from his lips into the cup, and we have brought it to you." Then Princess Pearl, thinking this very strange, went out to look. She was delighted at the sight, but not giving the prince time to take more than one little peep at her, she ran to tell her father, saying, "Father, there is a beautiful person at our gate." Then the Sea King himself went out to look. When he saw the young man on top of the tree, he knew that it must be Prince Firefade. He made him come down, and led him into the palace, where he seated him upon the throne made of sea asses' skins and silk rugs, 8 layers of each. Then a great feast was spread, and everyone was so kind to Prince Firefade that the end of it was he married Princess Pearl and lived in that land for 3 years. Now one night, when the 3 years had almost passed, Prince Firefade thought of his home and what had happened there, and heaved one deep sigh. Princess Pearl was grieved and told her father, saying, "We have been happy these 3 years, and he never sighed before, but last night he heaved one deep sigh. What can the meaning of it be?" So the Sea King asked the prince to tell him what ailed him, and also what had been the reason of his coming to that land. Then Prince Firefade told the Sea King all the story of the lost fishhook and how his elder brother had behaved. The Sea King at once called together all the fishes of the sea, great and small, and asked, "Has any fish taken this fishhook?" So all the fishes said, "The Tai has been complaining of something sticking in his throat and hurting him when he eats, so perhaps he has taken the hook." So they made the Tai open his mouth and looked in his throat, and there, sure enough, was the fishhook. Then the hook was washed and given to Prince Firefade. The Sea King also gave him 2 jewels. One was called the Tide-Flowing Jewel, and the other was called the Tide-Ebbing Jewel. He said then to the prince, "Go home now to your own land and take back the fishhook to your brother. In this way you shall plague him. If he plants rice fields in the upland, make you your rice fields in the valley. And if he make rice fields in the valley, do you make your rice fields in the upland. I will rule the water, so that it may do good to you, but harm to him. If Prince Fireflash should be angry with you for this, and try to kill you, then put out the Tide-Flowing Jewel, and the tide will come up to drown him. But if he is sorry and asks pardon, then put out the Tide-Ebbing Jewel, and the tide will go back and let him live." Then the Sea King called all the crocodiles and said, "His Highness Prince Firefade is going to the upper world. Which of you will take him there quickly, and bring me back word?" And one crocodile, a fathom long, answered, "I will take him to the upper world and come back in a day." "Do so then," said the Sea King, "and be sure that you do not frighten him, as you are crossing the middle of the sea." He then seated the prince upon the crocodile's head and saw him off. The crocodile brought him safe home in one day, as he had promised. When the crocodile was going to start back again, Prince Firefade untied the dirk from his own belt, and setting it on the creature's neck, sent him away. Then Prince Firefade gave the fishhook to his elder brother, and in all things did as the Sea King had told him to do. So, from that time, Prince Fireflash became poor, and came with great fury to kill his brother. But, just in time, Prince Firefade put forth the Tide-Flowing Jewel to drown him. When he found himself in such danger, Prince Fireflash said he was sorry, so his brother put forth the Tide-Ebbing Jewel to save him. When he had been plagued in this way for a long time, he bowed his head, saying, "From this time forth, I submit to you, my younger brother. I will be your guard by day and by night, and in all things serve you." His struggles in the water, when he thought he was drowning, are shown at the emperor's court, even to this very day. The end. Thank you for listening along with me. If you would like to hear more stories, you can find me pretty much everywhere as Sandman Stories or Sandman Stories Presents. That includes Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. A special shout out to my Nepalese followers who are listening from the central region. Thank you. Good night.